Charles Soule and Andreas Genolet send Luke Skywalker on a special mission as the Jedi Knight goes undercover to help out the Imperial defectors and rescue them from the clutches of the Empire. Charles Soule rounds out his defector storyline this issue with some fun undercover spy thriller stuff involving Luke. Soule channels a lot of the fun Luke related stuff he's been building throughout his entire run here, from having him learn a lot of the stuff about the Force in his travels, books he's gotten, to also referencing the fact that he originally wanted to join the Imperial Academy back in A New Hope, where he probably would have become a pilot or an officer like he is in this issue. There's also a very sly bit of foreshadowing about Luke liking the black tunics he's in and clothes like he does in Return of the Jedi. It's all the little things like that that make me appreciate Soule's run, since it's painfully obvious he loves Star Wars and put time and effort into researching all of these little details that would probably fly over so many readers' heads. I don't understand though how the family stuff just kind of petered out there at the end. We never really got to see them escape Coruscant, and they only had to run into Luke, and then suddenly they're at the rebellion and they're part of the rebellion now. I just kind of wish we got to see them get off planet and maybe Luke sort of like talk with them a little bit more. And maybe they'll come back in a later issue, since it feels like they will at some point, since they had some pretty big information. But it was just strange that the story just peters out once Luke meets them. Andreas Genolet focuses a little more on the action over character drama from the last issue, with Luke utilising his Jedi skills in fun ways that isn't just swinging a lightsaber around at some kind of neat, simple looking alien attack dogs, and I like how straightforward and everything in the action was. It was no drawn out long shots or anything, it was just straight to the point, we're going to keep the story rolling. Star Wars issue 28 finished up the Defector storyline, but not really in a satisfying way, as it felt like it was only just getting going as it finished. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10. Star Wars issue 28 finds Luke telling Hera that there is something he's just begun to figure out, and that is everything is connected by the Force, including this info about the defectors. Hera thinks he sounds a lot like Kanan, which is usually a good thing. Commodore Greg, meanwhile, tells the comms officer to pull everything they have on this defector intelligence, since if Luke Skywalker thinks it's worth the time, then it's good enough for him. The officer details how one of the relay stations picked up the call of people claiming to be Imperial defectors, and they offered to share information on secret Imperial weapons in exchange for protection. The relay officers told them to sit tight, and the connection dropped after that. They let it go, thinking it was just an Imperial trap though. Hera asks if there's anything to go on, and the comms officer did find the shuttle's signature, citing it as the Scorpius, tracking its signature through some databases where he finds that the Imperials put a system-wide alert on it, meaning this could be legitimate. Greg asks Luke for his input, so the Jedi tells the Commodore that all he can feel is that these people seem significant and they should be paying attention to them and need to find them. The officer says that the shuttle's transponder pops up in two places, first in the Aladim system and then at Coruscant. On Coruscant, Melton tells his family to run since there is something he needs to do first. He tells his wife that the Coruscant security is coming to investigate the crash and someone needs to slow them down and make them think that they died in the crash. He also knows that there are things in the shuttle they might need, like emergency kits, telling his wife that he'll get them and then follow behind them. Bev hopes he's not lying to her, and Melton knows that he never would lie to her, as Bev tends to the kids, telling them that they are going to find something to eat and their father will follow soon. Melton frantically searches through the ship's lockers, trying to get rid of the transponders in the emergency kits as the police arrive. Melton activates the shuttle's scuttle feature, hitting the button as he is ordered to get out of the ship. The police say that he's interfering with Imperial property, but Melton runs off as the shuttle explodes. Melton barely escapes the explosion, reuniting with his family and telling them that the explosion should buy them some time, but they need to disappear quick. Luke meanwhile tells Rebel Command that he wants to go to Coruscant to get the defectors, understanding their hesitation, but they confirmed both Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine are off-world right now. He proves to Greg that he can do things his Pathfinders can't by using the Jedi mind trick on the Commodore, making the man agree. Hera thinks that Luke's reasoning is sound, but it's still Coruscant, wondering what his plan is. Luke simply says he won't be going as a rebel, as later on Coruscant in the works, Luke, now wearing an Imperial Officer uniform, lands with a group of Pathfinders. The men say it's lucky they still had a uniform that fit him, not thinking that this is a good idea. One of the commandos thinks that Luke looks pretty good in black, as the hero assures them that he'll be fine and they need to just wait for his signals and be ready to move since it could get intense. He gives the commanders his lightsaber, knowing that if he has it, he'll be tempted to use it, and that will draw draw a lot of attention to him. They ask where he's going to track down the defectors to, amongst the trillions of people on the planet, so Luke says that he's going to have a word with some stormtroopers. Melton and his family meanwhile head deeper into the sewers to escape the pursuing police, and they soon come across some vicious corridor ghouls, which Bev instantly kills before her kids can go near it, but the blaster sounds draw the police in their direction. Melton comforts his daughter, assuring her mother took care of it like she always does. The family find that they are now boxed in by the police as they spot another empty tunnel. As they head down it, they soon see someone moving at the end of it. As they find out it's Luke, who moves towards the family and greets them. Bev opens fire, however, but Luke luckily dodges the blaster bolts, pulling the gun from the woman's hand with the force as he tells the family he found them thanks to some stormtroopers who knew where the search was concentrated to. He speaks to the kids, assuring them that it's going to be okay as the police arrive, and Luke acts like the Imperial Officer he's dressed as, telling the police he's got everything under control. The cops want to see some ID from Luke, worrying Melton and Bev, but Luke quietly assures them that violence isn't an option for them. Luke knows that he can't just Jedi mind trick all of the people there, so he reaches out with the force and cracks the ceiling above the cops, dropping a horde of corridor ghouls from the upstairs tunnel on the men. The family and Luke use the distraction to escape, and later at the Rebel fleet, Luke tells Rebel Command that the defectors are with their intelligence people and are being debriefed, but there are things the command need to know. He thinks Leia should be there, but Akbar says that she's with another division and it's part of their new policy to make sure none of them are together all at once. Luke shares that the family are Crimson Dawn and they were working deep cover in the Empire at a top secret weapons facility. Hera knows that Kira appears to have people everywhere as Mon Mothma asks Luke what they felt they need to know, and Luke reveals that the Empire is building a second Death Star. After a moment of shock, Mon Mothma knows that if they blew it up the first time, they can do it again, and it's time to get to work.